What's up, everyone? How we doing on this Wednesday evening? Hope you're having a really nice night. Week 4 is upon us. Tomorrow in Cincinnati, the Jacksonville Jaguars get their only primetime game of the year, and they're 0-3. But before we get there, we have Week 3 to discuss, and folks, we got a ton of action coming your way. Are the Dallas Cowboys good? Are they a good football team? I don't know. We'll talk about it. The Raiders. John and I have an announcement to make about the Las Vegas Raiders. We're going to make it today. And we mentioned it last week, but Big Ben, the Steelers, yikes. Big yikes. In segment 2, we're going to cover a couple of big games. That Packers-Niners game on Sunday Night Football was off the charts, electric. Tale of two halves. We're also going to go over the Chiefs and the Chargers. What is wrong with the Chiefs? That's what everyone's asking after 3 weeks. And I'm going to tell you something, folks. In my opinion, it's nothing. So we'll get to that. And then in segment 3, we are going to continue with our fantasy football sleepers and busts. John has to make up for his 0 for 3 showing last week. And then we are going to do our game picks, in which I will have to turn it up because John is wiping the floor with me in game picks this year. So we are at the end of September. A month of football will have been played by this Sunday. Aren't you excited for what's to come? Show us your takeaways. Give us your spirit. We want you to come and have a good time with us. Spencer, glad you're back. Roll the tape.
You play to win the game. Touchdown!
Can't wait.
John.
That was electric.
What's up, man?
What's up, Joe?
How you doing?
I'm doing all right.
You doing good?
Just watching the Yankees lose.
Yeah, they are losing right now to the Blue Jays.
In typical Perfect Spiral fashion, we have another sport on the television.
I mean, listen, it's the way it should be. We're a sports-generated podcast.
We are. Welcome back, Spencer.
Yes.
You said it too.
Welcome back, Spencer. Hope you had a very nice honeymoon.
Yo, he went to this like crazy concert. I don't know. It's
really
called Firefly or something.
Firefly? I've heard of... Well, yes, Firefly. What was the thing that was on Netflix? What was that called?
Oh, Firefest.
Fire, something like that. That was the fake thing?
Yeah, so him and his wife went to this like outdoor camping concert.
That's cool.
I'm like, yo, that's so sick. He's just like in a tent. So Spencer was living his best life.
That's awesome. Well, Spencer, we're glad you're back. We had a raw and edited version last week where we did our own intro, and god damn, it was horrible. But we did our best.
Tried.
We did our best. So for everybody, if this is your first time, I am Joe Miglio. I have my co-host, John McCarthy. And this is Perfect Spiral. We talk about football 24/7, 365. Make sure you are following, rating, and subscribing on anywhere you get your podcast: Apple, Google, Spotify, Pandora, Deezer, Stitcher, Buzzsprout, anywhere you can. Thank you, everybody who's listened so far. So, John, week 3 recap.
It's going too fast.
It's going way too fast. We mentioned that last week, and the Vikings finally got a win.
We did.
We
did. We actually, and
congratulations on your inaugural victory this season.
Thank you, Joe.
My squad is still looking for that elusive first victory.
You played 3 good quarters.
Listen, I'll say it. I've been saying it since the beginning of the season. Week 1, we played 1 good quarter. Week 2, we played a good half. Week 3, we played 3 good quarters. So tomorrow night, I'm expecting 4 good quarters of football.
Which should result in a win.
Which
unless
should
you need to go to
hopefully
overtime.
result in a win. Unless we go to overtime. That's right. I didn't even think about that. Damn it. But no, with my team, man, it's weekly progression. They're still a bad football team. And honestly, I'm okay with that because it's not like they were supposed to be world beaters this year. But we're not really going to talk about them this week because there's really nothing to talk about. Let's go around the league really quick as we do normally. So we're just going to highlight really quick the week 3 games. So, as I just mentioned before, the Cardinals beat the Jacksonville Jaguars 31-19 in Jacksonville. The Cowboys stomped on the Eagles 41-21 on Monday Night Football. The Packers, who we're going to talk about this game in detail, whistled by the Niners 30-28. Raiders keep their unbeaten record alive as they beat the Dolphins in overtime 31-28. The Rams take down the Super Bowl champion Tampa Bay Buccaneers for the first time since like week 13 of last year.
Yeah.
It's the last time the Bucs lost a regular season football
Yeah,
game.
it was in November of last year.
Well, that's interesting. Vikings, as we mentioned, beat the Seattle Seahawks 30-17 at home. Broncos blanked the Jets 26-0. Second week in a row that we've had a shutout in the NFL. Can't remember the last time that happened. Chargers eked by the Chiefs in a shocker 30-24. Ravens just got by the Lions 19-17. No thanks to Justin Tucker. The Bills defeated the Washington football team 43-21. Cincinnati Bengals upset the Steelers 24-10 in Pittsburgh. The Saints easily defeated the Patriots 28-13. Titans got by the Colts 25-16. Browns were all over the Bears.
Yeah, they ran roughshod.
26-6. Falcons beat the Giants at home 17-14, and the Panthers keep their perfect season alive, beating the Texans 24-9. So, John,
Interesting.
couple of things we want to talk about first.
Yes.
What's your biggest takeaway from week 3?
Okay, well, first of all, we have to just talk about the 66-yard field goal by Justin Tucker really fast. That was
It
insane.
didn't look like it was good when he first hit it.
It looked like it had some distance, but then once it hit that crossbar, the fact that it hit the crossbar and bounced.
Felt like it stayed up in the air for like 5 seconds.
Yeah, it was like everybody was just silent.
Yeah.
And then it just went through. So that was incredible. That was awesome to watch in real time. So do you want to do it now? Do you want to just get it out of the way now?
What?
Do you want to apologize now?
Yeah.
I really hate that we have to backtrack on this.
I mean, it's only week 3, but they've beaten supposedly 2 good football teams so far.
Yeah.
One not so good football team. But John, you could say it. I don't even want to say it.
All right. Las Vegas Raiders fans, we're sorry. This team is actually pretty fucking good.
I don't want to go that far yet. They did the same thing last year, John. They were 6-3, and then they finished the year 7-9.
I know, but wait, can I just say something? Because I've watched like an excessive amount of Vegas Raiders games because it's always on Red Zone. They love Derek Carr this year. Now suddenly, if you want to throw a prop bet on Derek Carr for MVP, they love him now for MVP. Wait, I'm watching that team, and this past Sunday, Joe, I'm saying this right now, and I'm saying this on the pod, there was not a single team that I saw that played as hard as the Vegas Raiders. They were flying to the football, hard hitting. They were making their presence felt. And, like, honestly, I haven't seen a football team do that in a very long time.
Well, maybe they have something to prove.
Yeah, I mean, of course they have something to prove after being inept for 4 or 5 years. And granted, they're doing it without Josh Jacobs. They're missing a couple of their key players. Their defense seems pretty friggin' good. I don't...
The defense has been improved, I will say that. Defense has definitely been improved.
And the biggest difference for me, I think, is that Carr isn't, like, gun-shy anymore.
Well, I mean, Henry Ruggs has been good the past
Showed
2
up.
weeks, right? And Brian Edwards is catching some footballs, Darren Waller hasn't been a world beater the past 2 weeks. Carr's been spreading the ball around a little bit more. So I think that's something that's interesting. But listen, we apologized, but I don't want to say that they're a top 5 football team yet.
No, I'm not going to say that either.
They beat the Baltimore Ravens, who I still don't think are that good.
No, I agree.
I really don't. They beat the Pittsburgh Steelers. Granted, they did that on the road.
In Pittsburgh.
But we've seen, I think, through 3 weeks what the Pittsburgh Steelers are.
Yeah, we're going to get to them.
And then they just beat the Dolphins in overtime. It took them overtime to beat the Dolphins without Tua. So they haven't played. They have a big game this Monday night.
Huge.
If they could beat the Chargers on Monday Night Football, I'll buy in. That's what will sell me. That's what I'm telling you now. That's what will sell me. If they could beat the Chargers on Monday night, and I don't know exactly where that game is.
I think it's actually in LA.
That game is in LA. So if they
LA.
could go on the road and they could beat an LA Charger team who just took down a Chief team on the road, I will be very impressed. And I will be a full-fledged believer in this Vegas Raider team.
We'll just have to see. I see a lot of different things from this team that I didn't see last year, and it's the defense and it's Derek Carr. He's standing in the pocket. He wasn't doing that last year. He was scared to get hit. Now he's standing in the pocket. He's delivering strikes.
Well, listen,
he looks good.
The
Most
offensive
passing yards for 3 weeks.
The offensive line hasn't been a problem so far yet. They got rid of all their offensive linemen at the beginning in the offseason, and they have a new line, and they haven't been a problem yet. If this team could get Josh Jacobs going, then, and you know what too? Last thing I want to mention about them, their secondary has been excellent.
Yeah, fantastic.
Excellent. Trayvon Mullen especially. Every time I look at a game, he's making a play.
Jonathan Abrams and Trevon Moehrig have been fantastic.
He's just they're having a really nice start to the year. We mentioned this team just now. Let's transfer to them. The Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yikes.
All right. We mentioned it last week. We'll mention it again. And I want to bring something else up. They lost to the Bengals at home, 20-17. Ben didn't have a good game. Didn't. I don't care what the stats say. Do not care. Granted, they didn't have TJ Watt. Granted, they didn't have Alex Highsmith. Granted, they didn't have Deontay Johnson. You still should be able to beat the Bengals at home. Tyler Boyd said something at the end of that game. He said that they gave up at the end of that game. The Steelers gave up at the end of that game. And if you go back and watch the end of that game, on that final drive, they had 3 drop passes in a row. I don't know if you saw that.
Yeah.
They had 3 drop passes in a row.
It was ugly.
It was ugly. I don't know. I mean, listen, we had reservations about the Steelers team in the offseason.
We did.
We did. I didn't have them making the playoffs. I had them under 500.
I think I had them under 500 as well.
Week 1, we were obviously surprised, right? But I think what we're realizing is that week 1 was kind of an aberration.
A fluke, yeah.
And no, we're not going to discuss on the pod if Big Ben should be benched because Dwayne Haskins or Mason Rudolph is not a better option than Ben Roethlisberger right now. It's not. So get that out of here. Get that out of here. It's not.
It's kind of sad, though, that Ben is still the best option out of those 3.
Well, I think here's the thing, and this is what I was going to get to. Do the Steelers try to trade him? I don't think the answer is yes. I think they're kind of stuck with him this year.
I think they are stuck.
And if that's the case, I kind of feel bad because the team's not going anywhere.
And it's so weird, right? Like, you see this sometimes in sports, and I think the last time you saw this from a quarterback was Peyton Manning that final year in Denver, where it was like he could not throw the football.
Yeah.
Like, his arm was dead, but they had such a good defense, and he made like maybe 10 good plays all year that got them to the Super Bowl. Now, I don't think this Pittsburgh Steelers team is as good as that Denver team.
That Denver defense was incredible.
Yeah, that Denver defense was unbelievable. But the issue is that when you have a star that overstays his welcome and you start to see the tendencies, like he was declining last year. Just because he lost 15 pounds and says, oh, I feel great.
Everyone feels great in July.
Yeah, like week 5, he can turn around and say, I just don't have it anymore. He's been saying this for 6 years now that he just doesn't have it anymore. You know, like this is a team where they have so many like game breakers. They have a really good young defense, and it's really being held back by the fact that Ben is just he's not good anymore.
Yeah, I think they're an interesting team to look at. I think
Najee Harris had 19 targets.
That's crazy. Things don't get easier for them this week. They're in Green Bay, right? Week 5, they're home to the Broncos. Week 6, they are at home against Seattle on Sunday Night Football.
Schedule.
John, and week 7, they are on a bye. John, I'm not going to lie to you. As of right now, the only game to me that seems winnable on that schedule is the Seattle game, the way that everybody's playing. And the only reason I think the Seattle game's winnable because of their defense, and we'll get to that literally next because I have a bone to pick with that. But that's not easy. I mean, there's no way they should beat the Packers this week in Green Bay. Right?
No shot.
And then they're home for Denver, which
Not
the way
a
that
cakewalk.
Denver's been playing, the Denver defense against that Pittsburgh offense is a nightmare scenario, I think, for Pittsburgh.
Oh, Ben will be on the floor the whole game.
So
Did you see he just fell down like on a rollout? He threw a pass?
the meme. Yeah, and then in week 6, we just mentioned they play Seattle. So I mean, they could very easily be looking at 1-5 by week 7. At best, I think they're looking at 2-4.
That's rough.
And in a division where they have the Browns, who are a good team, right? There's a very good possibility that after tomorrow, the Bengals could be 3-1, and the Ravens are somehow getting it done. So things are not getting easy for this Pittsburgh Steelers team. I think,
the second most talented team in the division is the worst team in the division.
I think there's a very high chance by week 7, week 8, we start. I mentioned at the beginning of the season that I think the Vikings are going to be that team. We may have to alter that. Maybe the Steelers. It really may be.
Like shockingly bad.
Yeah, really, really maybe. Let's move on to another team.
Oh yeah, Joe's been chomping at the bit
So
for this.
I watched a lot of the Viking-Seahawks game on Sunday. Mainly because my fantasy matchup, I have Russell Wilson as my QB, and my opponent had Kirk Cousins. Now, I'm watching this game, and John,
You need to collect your thoughts.
I don't understand how you watched the game, right?
I watched a lot of that game.
Okay. Did it not seem that there was a Viking receiver open?
They were killing him on the underneath routes the whole game.
But John, there was no defender within 15 yards of any receiver.
No, they were playing a soft ass zone.
And with the game on the line, on a 3rd and 9, the Seahawks, they're playing 15 yards off the ball. I forget who it was. Maybe Jefferson, I think, ran a 9-yard curl route. There was nobody within 10 feet of him.
Yeah, it was pretty crazy.
The game was on the line. I mean, what are we doing? It's embarrassing to have that was the worst defense I've seen all year. This comes from a guy who watches the Jacksonville Jaguars every week. That's a bad defense. Whatever scheme that was, that's a bad scheme. I mean, that was a pitiful fucking performance. There is no way or no reason receivers should be open in the middle of the field with no one around them.
It was wide open.
John, it's like they thought the Viking receivers had COVID, so they didn't want to go near them.
They're doing the 6 feet distance. Except it was like 15 feet.
It was ridiculous. I mean, how do you expect to win a ball game like that?
You know what's funny?
And they play in a division. They play in a division where there's 2 potent offenses in the Rams and the Cardinals. John, I'm telling you right now, if they were to play the Rams and the Cardinals right now, they would give up 50 points to each of those teams.
Oh, yeah, without a doubt.
They are awful.
You know what?
They don't rush the quarterback. The only reason they got sacks last week is because Kirk Cousins is a statue back there.
He is a statue.
Okay? Alexander Madison ran all over them.
Wow, what a play.
Okay? And as I just mentioned before, I could have caught a couple of passes against that defense on Sunday.
Yeah, 3-yard slant, yeah.
Unbelievable. Jesus Christ.
You know what's funny, Joe? Don't they remind you a little bit of like how we felt about the Ravens? Like, aren't they like a weird team where it's like...
I thought they were better.
Yeah, it's like, are they good or are they not good?
I feel like there's one more Russ Super Bowl run like left in him. I don't know when it's going to come, but it ain't coming with this defense. This defense is dog shit.
Oh, no, it's bad. And some of the play calling by them is just horrendous. Like all they do now is just like, you know, the whole let Russ cook thing.
Yeah.
They just like air the ball out like to a infinite degree. So it's just, I don't know. It's a very weird team.
Folks, I hate to do this live, but I have to go shut the lights off to my car outside. So I'm going to leave John with you for about 60 seconds. And after getting on the Seahawk high horse.
I can't believe you left your lights on in the car.
I know. We have 2 more topics to discuss before we get to the games. We're going to talk about the Chicago Bears as a thing.
Yes.
But before that, John is going to give you a little monologue on Micah Parsons.
Whoa, okay. So, as Joe goes to turn his lights off. So, when it comes to Micah Parsons was absolutely electric as a pass rusher the last 3 weeks. And it's kind of crazy because when he came out as a linebacker, and me and Joe, we looked over him extensively. We knew he was the best defender in the draft. I never really saw him as being a hand in the dirt pass rusher or just like coming off the edge consistently like that. And he's been absolutely phenomenal. I saw somewhere that his, like on Twitter, that his days as like a linebacker might be over. But it's probably not once, you know, DeMarcus Lawrence comes back. But he's been fantastic. Easily one of the better rookies, probably the best rookie I've seen yet. When Joe gets back, we're definitely going to ask him if he's the best rookie he's seen yet. But yeah, he's been absolutely electric. Wow, that was fast. All right, so you gotta give your opinion on Micah Parsons really quick, because I was just saying in my little monologue while you went to turn off your lights.
Right.
I never saw him as like a pass rusher.
He's quick.
He is fast.
A lot quicker than I thought.
And he's strong too off the edge.
He's a guy that, if you remember back to our draft coverage, in our very early mocks, we had him going as high as 4. Remember that? To the Falcons?
I had him as the best player in the draft.
So, I'm not surprised he's doing this well. But I mean, like, he's playing, think about this. He was playing out of position on Monday night.
He's been doing it for the past 2 weeks. 2-3 weeks.
He didn't do it last week. He did it this week because Tank Lawrence is out. Mm-hmm. I mean, he absolutely wrecked that Eagles offensive line. He's a game changer.
Yeah,
he's a game changer. He is excellent. That Cowboy defense is better.
Significantly
They're much better. And I don't know if it's because of him or it's because of Dan Quinn, but that defense, we'll talk about the Cowboys in the next segment. But yes, Micah Parsons, love him. Him and Joke are the best 2 defensive rookies so far this year.
Maybe the best 2 rookies, period.
And I am not surprised about Joke. We spoke about him at length, how much we both liked him. So no surprise there. John, before we get into segment 2, we have to talk about what the hell happened on Sunday in Cleveland to the Chicago Bear offense. Let me preface this by saying,
go ahead.
Justin Field gets his first start, right? Because Andy Dalton's hurt. Mm-hmm. Okay? Granted, they're going up against a very good Browns team in Cleveland against a good Browns defense. I thought the play calling was horrible.
Horrendous.
With that, I'll let you take your stand.
So what was weird to me when it came to Chicago was that Matt Nagy has had all this time to put together a game plan for Justin Fields. Like, we're talking about, like, the draft was in April.
So smart that you just...
It's damn near October, and he hasn't figured it out yet. I mean, like, you had to think at some point or another he was going to play. You don't have a set of plays that are ready for Justin Fields. Like, Justin Fields is running the Andy Dalton offense.
John, I'm going to say it. It was almost like he wanted to tell everyone, he wanted to give everybody the finger and say, see, I told you guys he wasn't ready.
And I heard, you know how many people are saying that? Honestly, if that was the case, Joe, if that's the case, he should be fired tomorrow. Just to prove...
People are calling for his head.
Oh, Justin Fields, he's not ready. Who's to say he's not ready? You gave him a shit game plan. You know he threw the ball 4 times by the third quarter?
They did not give him a recipe to succeed on Sunday.
The protection was horrendous.
And that is a indictment on the coaching staff. the Jaguars, the Jets, the Lions, the Colts, I think those are the only 0-3 teams left, right? Every week, I will say this. Those 5 teams haven't won a game yet. I could say confidently that the coaching staff gives those teams what they need to try and win on Sundays. You could see it. Now, with the Jaguars and the Jets, the talent's not there, right? The Lions have come close twice now.
The Lions,
okay?
yeah.
The Colts have had a tough schedule, but they've come close a couple of times. The Chicago Bear coaching staff did not properly prep this Bears team and Justin Fields for that game on Sunday. And that is an indictment on the coaching staff, and that is a health hazard to that quarterback and to that team as a whole.
He got sacked 11 times. That's one short of the record.
I thought it was 9.
No, I saw 11 today.
You really?
Or maybe that's just through the season he's been sacked 11 times because he does come in on gadget plays. Which, and real quick before we move on from them, I think it's just so ridiculous that Matt Nagy's like, oh, Andy Dalton, Fields, and Nick Foles are being considered for
That's
a start.
Ridiculous.
Like,
that means you don't have a clue.
Yeah, what happened to this Matt Nagy that was this amazing, oh my God.
One coach of the year a couple of years ago?
Coach of the year, oh my God. Yo, he messed up on Sunday. And truthfully, I feel bad for Justin Fields. Because Justin Fields is not a bad quarterback. And I honestly, if the game plan was suitable for him, he might have been the most ready out of all these quarterbacks. Because he has a ton of tools to be successful. But that was just terrible. That was absolutely horrendous.
It was really bad. Really, really bad display. And I feel bad for Bears fans because they were looking forward to that game for a while.
Yeah.
And I don't think Justin Fields is going to be bad either. I think he's going to be a good quarterback. But I don't think it's going to be with this coach.
No.
I really don't.
Not at all.
So that covers our first segment. When we get back, we are going to deep dive into a couple of games. We're going to get to the Packers and the 49ers first. So make sure you get a cup of coffee or get a glass of water like I have here. Grab some fruit gushers or any snack of choice and come join us for segment 2.
Hey y'all, Spencer Blinn, the producer for Perfect Spiral Podcast, and you're listening to my band Hollow Choir's new song, What You Want. Available now on Spotify. What you want.
All right, we're back here for segment 2 of Perfect Spiral, episode number 32. John McCarthy and Joe Miglio coming at you here. We have the Yankees-Blue Jays game on to our left, where the Blue Jays are hammering Garrett Cole at the moment as they lead the Yanks 4-0.
Yikes.
So, interesting tidbit there. But, John, let's get into a couple of these games. Let's get into the first game. I mean, that Sunday night game. Did you watch it at all?
So I actually but let me preface this before everybody says I'm a terrible football fan. I wake up at the crack of dawn to go to work, anywhere between 3 and 4 a.m. So the Sunday night game, usually, unless I'm doing the Twitter, I'm out cold. So I passed out at like maybe the end of the third.
All right. I actually fell asleep for a little bit in the fourth, just not by choice. I just did. But I woke up because I wasn't feeling super great. But that game was, so it started off, it was a tale of two halves, honestly. It started off with the Packers running rampant on the Niners, right? Mm-hmm. The Packers, the Niners couldn't do anything right. The offense was not good. The Packers were moving down the field, doing whatever they wanted. They had a 42-yard gain on the first drive to Lazard and this and that, and they scored and all this other stuff. And they went into halftime, I believe. Let me just make sure I get the exact score right here. So at halftime, it was 17-7. Okay, and San Francisco had scored right before the end of the half to make it 17-7. Right. So Green Bay was up 17-0, right? They had a touchdown in the first quarter to Devontae Adams, and then they had another touchdown from Aaron Jones to make it 17-0. And right at the end of the second half of the first half, San Francisco scored. Now, before that, let's back up a minute. Jimmy Garoppolo was awful in the first half. Awful.
He wasn't great.
Was not good. Was terrible, right? And when San Francisco scored in the first half, you know who scored for them? Trey Lance
Oh, yeah, on that run.
on a goal line rush. Mm-hmm. Okay? We're going to get back to that in a minute. People were calling for Trey Lance to come in the second half of that game. That's how bad Jimmy Garoppolo was in the first half. Mm-hmm. That's how bad he was. Okay? Rodgers and the Packers picked up from where they did in that second half on Monday night, and they were having a great game. And then something flipped in the second half. I don't know what it was, but San Francisco came out like a completely different team. And they looked like a juggernaut.
Brandon Ayuk showed up.
Right, Brandon Ayuk showed up for the first time forever. He caught a touchdown pass in the third quarter. Garoppolo, they had a very nice 8-minute drive in the second half, make it 17-14. Right, so literally for a quarter and a half, you're like, wow, this is going to be a blowout. This is all pack, right? And then right at the end of the half, Niners score, make it 7-7. Even then, you're like, still, this doesn't seem. It's a 10-point lead, but it feels like it's 20.
Yeah.
And then they score just like that, 3-point game. Completely different feel after that moment in time, right? Then the Packers come back, they score, go up by 10, and then this is in the fourth quarter, Sermon scores, makes it a 3-point game. This is kind of when I fell asleep. And then when I wake up, they're driving again. San Francisco is driving again, right? It's 27-21. San Francisco is driving again. And I'm like, wow, they're going to win this game. I can't believe they're going to actually win this
They're
game.
going to turn it around, yeah.
And then he throws the touchdown pass to Juice Chick, who, for some reason, is the highest scoring running back on the Niners this season. Is that right? I can't believe that.
Yeah, everybody who bet all that fab on Elijah Mitchell.
So, at Jimmy. And then, so there's 37 seconds left on the clock. And everyone even if you weren't saying it out loud, you were thinking it. Like, is that too much time for Rodgers? Turns out it was. One pass, boom. Two pass, boom. Kick, game over, done. Shocked. But am I surprised? No. Couple takeaways from that game. One, I don't think the Niners have an offense that could sustain them to be a successful postseason team.
I agree.
Currently. Do not have a successful... I think you have a very similar situation to the Alex Smith, Colin Kaepernick situation you had years back with Jim Harbaugh. Where the team's not bad. The team's not bad.
Just needs that juice.
They may actually be a playoff team, right? Mm-hmm. But they need juice.
That jump.
To that high voltage, right? To get them to the next level.
Wow, Joe, it's crazy you just said that parallel.
And I don't know if Lance is I don't know if he's going to do it right away. I'm not even saying he's going to be good. But right now, with the team currently constructed the way it is, Jimmy Garoppolo is not getting the job done.
They're just they're just treading water.
Right? And we keep mentioning that NFC West, right? I don't think they're as good. They're definitely not as good as the Rams.
No.
Okay? They have a better defense than Arizona, but they don't have as good as an offense, so I feel like they're kind of on the same wavelength, right? I feel like they're like a Seattle. But what is that, right? This is a team that's supposed to be competing for a Super Bowl. To be competing for a Super Bowl, you have to put together 4 good quarters of football. They put together 2 last week. On the other side, the Packers put together a garbage first game. They put together a great second half in a Monday night game where they sleptwalked through the first half. And they played a great first half in this game on Sunday night. And it took an Aaron Rodgers Superman act to win the game on Sunday night in Green Bay. You know the biggest takeaway I got from this game? The Rams are easily the biggest threat to the Bucs. Without question.
Oh, yeah, without 100%.
Without question.
That's 1A, 1B in the NFC.
These two teams are not there yet. And I'll go as far to say these two teams, as it stands right now, I know it's 3 weeks, these two teams are not as good as Dallas Cowboys.
I agree with you.
They're not.
I agree. I want to say one thing about this game, right? The one thing. Wow, Joe is stripping right now. I want to say one thing about this game. That was my biggest takeaway. Aaron Rodgers seems to still love football. I think that we forgot that this man, he's a bad man. He's still Aaron Rodgers. He's still one of the greatest of all time. He still very much enjoys playing football and very much enjoys playing in that stadium. Because you bet your ass that in that 37 seconds, he's thinking these motherfuckers passed on me. Like, come on. You don't think he's not thinking that every time he goes there?
I mean, listen, he...
Which, by the way, really quick, can I point out something funny before we move on from this
That's what
game?
we're here for.
So I listened to a bunch of other football podcasts during the week.
Right.
Because I'm just a podcast junkie. On one of the podcasts, they mentioned that Kyle Shanahan reached out to Green Bay and his good friend, Matt LaFleur, and he said, hey, listen, just giving you the heads up, I'm going to see if Aaron Rodgers is available. You know what? They had a fallout. They had like a little fallout over it.
Really?
Like Matt LaFleur saw it as like disrespectful. And Kyle Shanahan is like, well, I'm just doing like my job. I'm just doing my due diligence where it's like, if Aaron Rodgers is available, I want to try to bring him to San Francisco. And granted, this was before the draft. So it's like, you know, that's why after the game they had like an awkward handshake. I don't know if you saw it. It was like very awkward.
I didn't know.
So, yeah, no love lost there, it seems like, for now, with two people who are like best friends.
Wow. Didn't know that.
Yeah, very weird.
They're good friends with McVay, too, apparently.
Yeah, they're all friends. They've all like coached together and whatnot. So,
yeah, they were all on the Washington Redskin staff together.
yes.
So,
Yep.
All right, let's move on. And John, we have two more games we want to cover. We want to cover Falcons Giants. We want to cover Chiefs Chargers. Where do you want to go first?
Let's talk about Chiefs Chargers. Let's save
Chiefs Chargers.
the worst
Okay.
one for last.
What is your biggest takeaway from the Chiefs Chargers? Chiefs defeated the Chargers defeated the Chiefs in Kansas City. What's the final score?
It was 30-27. No, I could be wrong.
Was it?
Double check. It was something close.
30-24.
30-24.
Yeah.
So what was my biggest takeaway from that game?
Yes.
The Chargers are legit. You know what's funny is that. So really fast, I want to just mention something really quick that has nothing to do with this game. If you are a Dolphins fan and you're sitting there and you're watching Justin Herbert on Sundays, you are absolutely sad because no matter what, no matter how you slice it, Justin Herbert was the better quarterback in that draft, and you guys still took Tua.
Herbert's numbers on Sunday: 26 of 38, 281, and 4 touchdowns.
Yeah. You know what's funny is his arm talent. I'm going to go ahead and say it on this pod. His arm talent is very similar to Patrick Mahomes. There's not a single throw he can't make. There's not a single throw he feels he can't make. He is unreal. And like his numbers through the first 3 weeks may not show it, but man, that dude is a baller.
I really like him a lot.
He made Mike Williams again. Mike Williams has been everything he was supposed to be 4 years ago.
Mike Williams 7 for 122 and 2 scores on
Yes.
Sunday.
Mike Williams is like a wide receiver 3 this year. They have Keenan Allen, who's been absolutely electric. Austin Eckler's been fantastic. That offensive line, Roshan Slater hasn't given up a sack since 2018 at Northwestern. Okay, it's 2021. This team is legit, and I do feel like there is a little bit of a problem with the Chiefs where I do. So my problem, what I feel like with the Chiefs, is that I feel like they're having trouble playing that hero ball style. Where it's like, oh, we could just be down a score. We could just be down 2 score, but we have the ultimate eraser. You do have the ultimate eraser in Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes is the best quarterback in the NFL. He's unreal. But now you're going against teams that are better, your division is harder, and you can't get down 2 scores and sleep on teams and then turn around and be like, well, I'm going to sidearm, I'm going to no look, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do it. Like, Patrick Mahomes needs to kind of lock in a little bit. I feel like, if anything, that play where he tried to evade pressure through a no look, which, I mean, it's amazing he can do it. He faked out his own receiver, which resulted in an interception. Plays like that are going to lose you football games. He needs to lock in and he needs to, like, be Patrick Mahomes. They can't play this hero ball style anymore. Clearly the defense is not as good as, I mean, it was never good. But they need to stop with the hero ball stuff. They have, and they tried to run the ball this week. They did run the ball with some success. I think they had almost 130 yards rushing. They did do pretty well. Clyde Edwards-Helaire ran for almost 100 yards himself.
He did have 100, 17 for 100.
Yeah. So they just got to get back to what they need to focus. They're playing a little too much hero ball, but man, the Chargers are going to be a tough out in the AFC. I'm telling you.
Let me circle back on a couple of things. First, I'm going to talk about the Chiefs. I think you have something there. I think the word I was going to use was complacent. They're very complacent with their style of play. And I think they feel that they're that much better than everybody else. I really feel like they think that way. I don't know if they are, but I think that they are. Mm-hmm. Remember last year when it just seemed like they were just nonchalantly walking through games and they were still winning by 3 touchdowns?
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Like coasting.
Right, literally coasting. And it was interesting because when this game, remember during this game when the Chargers punted the ball away in the fourth quarter and Mahomes got the ball back. Everyone in this country said, this game's over. Chiefs going to drive down the field. Done. Game over.
Yep.
Hey, throws a pick. Okay. Game's not over. I guess it's not. So I think that they need to just, I like the term you use, lock in. They need to realize that it's not going to be handed to them. Because, let's be serious, the past 2 years, the AFC has kind of been handed to the Chiefs. Okay?
They've just been that much better.
They've been that
else.
much.
Yeah.
Last year, people thought the Bills were on their level, and they got out to a 9-0 lead in the AFC Championship game, then they got stomped.
Yep.
So they weren't. They're not on their level. You know, and that's okay. You know, sometimes you run into teams
that are just better.
That are just that good. You know? And I think you're right. I think a couple of teams have caught up to them this year. I don't know if the Chargers are caught up yet. I think they kind of caught them by surprise. You know? I'll tell you what, the Chiefs aren't going to take them maybe as lightly as they did this Sunday again when they play them again later in the year. I still think Buffalo's I still think the Chiefs are the best team in the AFC. I don't think despite what their record is, I still think they're the best team in the AFC.
You almost have to say that by default because of who their quarterback is.
Well, I think quarterback, they have Tyreek Hill. They have the perfect offense.
They just got Josh Gordon, which I don't know how much that really moves the needle.
Right, we'll see. The Chargers. Like you said, I'm very impressed. There's nothing you can't be impressed about. They went on the road and they defeated a Washington football team on the road who was supposed to have a good defense. We haven't seen it yet, right? Then they come home and play a Dallas team and lose by a field goal. Did not play a clean game at all, right? Had like 9 or 10 penalties. Did not play a clean game. Then they go on the road, and everyone's thinking they're going to go 1-2. It's like, oh, wow, you lost to the Cowboys at home. You should have won that game. Now you got to play the Chiefs. And they come out and they shock everyone, right? And they beat the Chiefs. Now, like I already gave you Herbert's stats. Now, Mike Williams, Austin Eckler, and Keenan Allen, okay, had 7, 6, and 8 catches each, right? And the three of them, Justin Herbert had 281 yards passing. The three of them combined had 224 of the 281 receiving yards.
That's impressive.
That's a three-headed monster, my friend. That's what that is.
Because it's a matchup nightmare.
And I'm going to tell you something right now. The Los Angeles Chargers currently have the second best offense in the AFC. Only second to the Kansas City Chiefs. That is right. They have a better offense than the Buffalo Bills. The LA Chargers have a better offense than the Buffalo Bills. Because Austin Eckler could actually run the ball. I don't believe in Devin Singletary. I don't believe in Zach Moss.
That's no way.
LA Chargers have a better offense.
They're just a really good team.
They're a very good team. I think they're a top. That NFC West, the AFC West is a very interesting division. I don't think Vegas and Denver are as good as their records are right now. I really don't. I still think the best two teams in that division are KC and LA in that order.
Well, we're going to see on Sunday.
We're going to see.
On Monday.
I told you, if Vegas beats LA on Monday, I will be a firm believer. That's the eye test for me.
And then what if LA beats Vegas?
Then I think the doubt is still in my eyes for Vegas.
But LA just looks that much better.
I'm sold on LA. You don't have to sell me on the Chargers. I'm sold on LA. I was sold on LA before the year. You were higher on them than I was.
I had them at 13-4.
Yeah, I had them at like what? I think at 11-6. I think I had them at.
We still had them both making the playoffs. So.
But their defense is good. They have maybe the second or third best pass rusher in the league in Joey Bosa.
Derwin James got hurt though.
He's always hurt. They look like they found a real lockdown corner in Asante Samuel Jr.
He's been unbelievable.
He's been very, very good. Another guy the fucking Jaguars passed on in round 2 of the draft, but it's a different conversation. But, I think they're a really, really solid football team.
It's one thing really quick before we move on from the Chiefs. The one thing I have noticed, too, that's been throwing them off is the fact that teams have kind of figured out how to lock down Hill and Kelsey a little bit. They've been able to kind of manage them, and there's no, third guy.
Well, Kelsey just puts up numbers without even trying, I feel like. He had 7 for 104 on Sunday. Yeah. Just and you feel like he did nothing.
Yeah, exactly. Casually.
Tyreek Hill was 5 for 56, and he lost a fumble. So, and he only had 7 targets. And I mentioned to you last week, I didn't think he was going to have a great game. I like that Charger secondary is pretty good, and they locked him down on Sunday.
So they figured out something. So, good for LA.
So the last game we want to cover over here is a game between a couple of bad teams, but I think we need to talk about it because I think it's really telling on where one of these organizations is, and that's the Falcons and Giants. Falcons defeated the Giants in MetLife 17-14, and folks, the Atlanta Falcons are a very bad football team. They're a bad, bad football team. Right? Yes, the Giants are a bad football team as well. But the Falcons are a really bad football team. Okay? They have a really bad defense. They don't have a really good running game. They have a couple of good receivers, but their passing game is not fluid.
No.
They're just not a good team. And that's okay. That's fine. Every team goes through rough stretches, right? They were in the Super Bowl a couple of years back. They're rebuilding. That's fine. The New York Football Giants, okay, had a prime opportunity this Sunday to win a football game, go 1-2, okay? And really, when you think about it, you would have felt maybe a little bit better about it because you were like, wow, they really should be 2-1 if they didn't play stupid football.
Yeah.
They should be 2-1 if they would have won on Sunday. They came out, John, so flat. And to lose that football game in the fashion that they did, after the way they lost last Thursday, it's like they learned nothing from that game. They learned nothing. And you know what? Daniel Jones had an opportunity to really put together 2 strong performances. I don't think he did that. I'm going to read his line from...
Not to mention they lost a ton of players. Blake Martinez to an ACL.
Tore his ACL,
They lost Sterling Shepard, Darius Slayton, who was their corner?
Oh, AJ Terrell?
No, AJ Terrell's in the Falcons. Who did they lost a corner too? I think.
Oh, I don't.
Logan Ryan, I think, got shaken up. One of the two.
I mean, Daniel Jones went 24-35 for 266, no touchdowns, no interceptions. Right? But he lost a fumble.
Of course, he loses at least one.
I don't know if I don't know if he lost fumble. I know he did fumble at least once. It was a big fumble though too. It was a big fumble. It was just like second down. They were going for a drive. They were going for like a game-winning drive. It was second down. He fumbled the ball, because he got a little bit of pressure. They fumbled the ball. He recovered the ball, but it became like a 3rd and 20.
You know what's funny, Joe, about the Giants? Remember last week against Washington, they went a little up-tempo?
Yeah.
And they actually did pretty well when they went up-tempo. What happened to that
Well,
this
it's
week?
funny you say that because, Jones actually lost 2 fumbles on Sunday.
That's unbelievable. He's a turnover machine.
And he only ran the ball 8 times for 39 yards. Now, we said last week he ran the ball quite successfully.
He was effective.
Right.
Yes.
I didn't watch a lot of the game, but from what I heard and people that told me, they didn't have as many designed runs for him as they did in the Washington game.
Jason Garrett is just, dude, he's a bad play caller.
It's just it's a really.
They're misusing Kenny Golladay.
He only had 5 targets on Sunday, 4 for 64.
They're trying to use him as a possession receiver, and he's not a possession receiver.
The one positive that they did, Evan Ingram had 6 targets, only caught 2 balls. Saquon Barkley was 100%. He had a nice game. 16 carries for 51 yards. That's not so great, but he also caught 6 passes for 43 yards.
He had a touchdown, too.
He had a touchdown. His first since he got hurt. So, but here's my thing, okay? The New York Giants, right? And we like to compare. People like to compare the Giants to the Jets, right?
2 different teams.
Right, 2 different teams. The Jets, for what seems like, every couple of years now, but the cycle has started over again. The Jets are starting over, right? New rookie head coach, rookie quarterback, offensive coordinator, the whole shebang, okay? The Giants are in year 3 of this Dave Gettleman, Daniel Jones life. And year 2 of Joe Judge, okay? And we said it last week. They are going backwards. And I'm going to get on Joe Judge a little bit too. I liked what Joe Judge did last year. I really thought he was a good coach. But it's not translating to wins. It's not.
Yeah.
I mean, there was a notion last year that this team was on to something because they were 6-10. Remember this last year?
Yeah.
Going to the last week of the year, it was like, the Giants may make the playoffs at 6-10.
Yeah, they could, and then the Philly
right,
debacle,
and then they beat Dallas in Week 17. Everyone got excited because the Giants, and there was this notion that the Giants were like becoming a good football team. I feel like a lot of people fell for it. They are not a good football team.
No.
They're a bad football team. They do not know how to win games.
And they draft poorly, too.
They do not know how to win football games. Simply put, I've seen them be in so many close games over the past 3 years, and they blow 90% of them.
And you know what's funny? I'm glad you mentioned Joe Judge because everyone, like you said last year, oh my God, Joe Judge, he's bringing such an infectious attitude. He's a Saban and
says
Belichick
all the right
guy.
things.
He is the ultimate media guy.
Yeah.
I'd want him to do my wedding reception. He talks so well. But it's not. It's interesting, right? Because I want to talk about 2 coaches here, right? You want to talk about Joe Judge, and I want to talk about Brian Flores. When Brian Flores went to Miami when they were bad, they were a bad team.
Right.
You remember people were talking about him for Coach of the Year when they were like 5-11.
Yeah.
And people were like, "Wow, he really turned this team around." The next year, they made that leap.
They went 10-6.
They went 10-6. They made that leap.
They didn't make the playoffs, but they went 10-6.
It's still a winning record. 4 games over 500. But here's the issue with Joe Judge.
Right.
Like you said, it's not translating, and they're going backwards. Why are they going backwards? Is there an issue within that locker room?
I don't know.
Is there an
that's the
issue
question.
within the organization?
Right.
Is it like, well, Dave Gettleman's on borrowed time, and Joe Judge is on borrowed time, so really who cares? Daniel Jones is on borrowed time, which honestly I think it's a shame. I don't think Daniel Jones is that bad. But I just think that there's something within that organization that is not allowing them to win. Maybe it's Jason Garrett's play calling that was stale. I don't know how you could change it from week to week so much. Like you go up tempo, no up tempo. Daniel Jones running the ball, Daniel Jones not running the ball. What works. You did very well against a very what we thought was a good Washington defense, which has
not been yet.
And then you go against Atlanta, who is probably one of the worst teams in the NFL, and you lose. It doesn't make sense. Week to week, it doesn't make sense.
I know. And going forward, things don't get easier for this football team. Next week they where are they next week? Next week they're in New Orleans, and that's the Saints home opener, true home opener, right? So that's going to be a tough game. Saints have a very good defense.
Yep.
Okay. Then the week after that, they're in Dallas, and right now that doesn't look like a winnable football game.
Not at all.
Right? And then after that, they host the Rams. John, we're looking at potentially 0-6 by week 6.
That's rough.
And you a lot of people already think their season's over because they're 0-3. But at what point does Dave Gettleman get fired mid-season if they go 0-6? Honestly, because they're playing the Saints this weekend. I don't know if they're going to win that game. I feel like the Saints are like this Jekyll and Hyde team, so you never know what you're going to get out of them.
Yeah, it goes either way.
But I don't think they're beating Dallas right now. They're definitely not beating the Rams.
No, the Rams look unstoppable.
So at very best, I think they're 1-5.
Which is disappointing.
Which is still, for a team that people thought They were picked to win a division this year.
I had them going 10-6. Remember the team?
I did not. I had them at 7-10.
Remember this Giants team that had Tom Brady and the Super Bowl Tampa Bay Buccaneers on the ropes?
Yeah,
This is a far cry from that team.
I know.
Far cry from that team. So, and they got what's his name on the practice squad now, Isaiah Wilson or whatever.
Yes, the first round attitude problem.
Yeah, attitude problem
From Georgia.
Yeah, did he get arrested or something?
Yeah, he was teammates with Andrew Thomas.
Yes.
So they're hoping that thing could,
Andrew Thomas can't even get it together though.
That's another thing. All right. So before we get to segment 3, we just want to highlight a couple of big games going on for week 4. We have a very big game in Dallas on Sunday between the Panthers at Cowboys.
The number 1 defense in the NFL, the Carolina Panthers.
I think this is the first true test. I shouldn't say that, but yeah. I think this is the first really good football team Carolina is going to be playing.
Wow,
No.
Gapper. Sorry, something happened to the Yankees game.
Just like that, Yankees are back. 4-2.
Wow, he can't even get the ball. He couldn't even grab the ball.
4-2. Whatchamacallit?
Dallas and Carolina.
First true test, I think, for this Carolina team, Carolina defense especially.
They just lost J.C. Horn for the game.
But they got C.J. Henderson.
Yeah. And Christian McCaffrey is out for the next 3 weeks.
No, it's not necessarily true. They specifically did not put him on IR
Hopefully he comes back
because they're
soon.
trying to get him back before the 3 weeks.
That'd be great. I mean, I got Chuba Hubbard in one league, so.
Nice. Other game, so 2 3-0 teams go to battle on Sunday. We got the Arizona Cardinals in LA against the Rams. That should be a very interesting game. But I was not impressed with Arizona last week in Jacksonville. I watched that whole game. Was not super impressed with that game, so I will pick LA to win that one.
Kyla Murray, by the way, 5 touchdowns and 4 interceptions in his last 4 games against the Rams. So
Is that right?
yeah, I saw it before.
Okay. Ravens at Broncos. Very interesting game.
Lamar did not practice today. He had a sore back.
Really?
Yep.
I think that's the Broncos' first true test of the season.
I agree.
So we'll see what the deal is there. And then I think, obviously, we already spoke about the Raiders and the Chargers. But I think we just have to mention by default. I mean, Brady going before, we're not going to really talk about it, but Brady going back to New England, what do you think?
I think it's going to be, I mean, they're billing this up to be bigger than a Super Bowl. And the fact that, really, can we gloss over this for a second?
Sure.
I don't want to go too much into detail about it.
That's why we do this.
I think it's kind of ridiculous that now, all the storylines are coming out that, he didn't want to play with Belichick. Oh, him and Belichick.
I think it's all BS.
It's all just a fucking facade. How do you win 6 Super Bowls with a guy and then turn around and go, you know what? I didn't want to play for him in 2017 on. I wasn't feeling it. He treated me like a kid. I don't know. You took, and then you know what Bill said today? You know what Bill's ultimate comeback was, which is so interesting?
What did he say?
He goes, they run the same offense that I ran in Tampa. I ran in New England, and he called out their offensive play calls in a news conference, and he was like, "Yeah, this is the check down and blah blah blah." He kept he called it out, so it's all right. This is kind of interesting. It's just it's gonna be the ultimate chess match. I think Tampa Bay ultimately wins the game, but
they have the better team.
Yeah,
by far.
Brady going to Foxborough. Richard Sherman now is on the team, which is hilarious. It's going to be an interesting game. I think that it's going to be the most watched football game of the year. That's for sure. Ratings wise, it's going to be huge.
Yes,
Massive.
Well, we are going to come right back, and we are going to get our locked in segment where we locked in, where we do our fantasy sleepers and busts and our game picks. So we will be right back after this. All right, John.
I was terrible with my sleepers.
You were not good with your sleepers last week.
I was 0-3.
But that's okay. We're going to give you a chance to redeem yourself this week.
What's my overall record with the game picks?
You were...
I was 4-1 last week.
You were 3-2 and then 4-1. So you were 7-3, and then you went 4-1 again this week. So you're 11-4.
Whoa.
I, on the other hand, am 6-11. So...
Oh, okay. So you're 11-4.
No, you're 11-4.
I'm 11-4.
And I'm 6-11.
6-11, and then Maddie did her week 3 game picks on the TikTok.
So she's 3-3. Because she was 1-2.
3-3, yeah.
So she's 3-3.
You know, people in the comments were like, "This dog is a genius. She got all the picks right." Because I don't think people understood the spreads because like they saw the teams. And
she picked all the winners.
She picked all the winners, but she got 2 out of 3 spreads correct.
Oh, did she? Okay,
Yeah.
Interesting. So, let us talk about fantasy first. Okay,
Let's do it.
it is your job to pick the busts this week, and it is my job to pick the sleepers this week. So let us start with the quarterback position. And do you have any?
I do have my bust.
You have your bust.
I have my bust ready. Hold on, I just want to pull up the stats. Give me a second.
Okay.
Hold on. Sorry, my fat finger could not hit the right letter. Okay. So, all right. So my quarterback bust for this week
Okay.
is Kyla Murray.
Oh no.
Oh, that's terrible.
That's not what you want.
Sorry, something happened in the Yankee game. My quarterback bust of the week is Kyla Murray.
Okay.
Kyla Murray, as I mentioned before in the last segment, has been horrendous against the Rams the last 2 years. For context, last year in the first game they played in LA, he threw 173 yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 pick. He ran for 15 yards. And then in the second game they played, he only played like half of the game in week 17, and he only threw for 87 yards and ran for 3 yards. And then the year before that, he, in 2019, against the Rams, he threw for 163 yards and 1 pick. And then in the last game of the season in 2019, he threw for 325, 2 touchdowns, 2 picks, and didn't run at all.
So he's throwing a lot of interceptions.
He's throwing a lot of interceptions against this team. And I mean, we're talking about a defense that is incredible. They get after the quarterback. Jalen Ramsey has been absolutely fantastic this year. Those corners,
I miss him so much.
yeah, they're utilizing him in such a different way, which we spoke about last week. I think it's going to be really hard for him to really get going. And I think it would be a real indictment on this team if they can get him going, but I'm going to have him as my bust for the week. I even thought about benching him in one league for Jameis Winston, so take that as you will.
Okay. I'm going to give you my quarterback sleeper.
Go ahead.
Okay. And this is not based off any prior performances or anything. And it's funny because I was just killing this team a little while ago. But my quarterback sleeper for the week is Jimmy Garoppolo.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
He is going against the Seattle Seahawks.
Oh,
See a trend?
See a
trend there?
I see it.
The Seahawks defense, I ripped them before. They were horrific, right? And we did get a better second half from Jimmy Garoppolo in that second half of the football game on Sunday night.
We did.
Okay? They are playing at home. They're coming off a loss. All right? And we got a little bit of Brandon Ayuk last week. Okay?
A little bit.
George Kittle got going a little bit last week. Debo Samuel. So I think you're going to see, this pick is more about the Seahawk defense than it is about the Niner offense. I think they're so bad that Garoppolo is going to have a big day. Garoppolo is currently rostered in 18% of leagues according to Sleeper, and he's only starting in 7% of leagues. So don't miss out. You could get him for free. I guarantee it. No one's picking up Jimmy G. No one's doing it. Take him. Take a flyer on him. If you don't have a surefire quarterback this week, think about it. Jimmy G.
Wow. Look at you. I got my running back bust already ready.
Got your running back bust.
So my running back bust this week is going to be Nick Chubb.
Whoa.
He's going against the Minnesota Vikings defense, which has not been great, but they did play pretty well last week, that defensive front. The reason I'm saying that I feel like Nick Chubb is going to be a bust this week is because I feel like this team is kind of like shied away from him a little bit to start the year. I mean, he had that one really big game, and then the last 2 games have been semi-lackluster. He is getting his touches, but Kareem Hunt's not that far behind him, and I feel like once Kareem Hunt gets going, they like kind of stick with the hot hand. So I don't love Chubb this week.
You don't love Chubb.
I don't love Chubb this week because I feel like Kareem Hunt gives them a little more this week, like he did last week.
Okay.
But yeah, Chubb is gonna be my running back bust.
Chubb is going to be your running back bust.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Which is funny because I have Kyler and Nick Chubb on one team, and I'm saying they're both my bust, which I'm just wanting to hurt myself. Go ahead.
Okay. Interesting. All right. My running back sleeper. You ready for this, John? This may make you happy.
Go ahead.
Sony Michel.
Wow. He did get a lot of touches.
Sony Michel is my running back sleeper. Currently, the Arizona Cardinals are giving up 5.14 yards per carry, which is good for 31st in the NFL. John. Mm-hmm. They have given up 2 touchdowns. They've given up 15 yard. They've given up 15 runs or 10 or more yards. And as you just mentioned, Sony Michel got more touches. He was involved in the passing game last week.
He was.
So I think with the Cardinal pass rush, for their mediocre defense, their pass rush is good. So Matt Stafford will have to get rid of the ball this week rather quickly, I think. And there's no indication that Darrell Henderson's going to be back this week to play. So if Darrell Henderson is out, Sony Michel is my sleeper. If Darrell Henderson plays, I will give another sleeper before Sunday.
Okay, that's fine.
I promise you. But as of right now, Sony Michel is my running back sleeper.
So my wide receiver bust this week is going to be CeeDee Lamb.
No! No!
Joe just had a meltdown.
No!
CeeDee Lamb, he's going against Carolina.
No! Pick a different guy.
Nah, fuck your team. Joe is like on this like incredible high horse because he's doing good in fantasy for once, and it's kind of
For once!
For once.
Second best record in Ronaldo history, but I guess that doesn't mean anything.
I mean, who has number 1?
All right.
I don't care.
Talk about CeeDee Lamb.
I don't care who's number 2.
Talk about CeeDee Lamb.
So CeeDee Lamb is going to be my bust this week. He's going against Carolina. I feel like even though J.C. Horn is out and C.J. Henderson, is he going to play, you think?
If Henderson was hurt last week, so I don't know if he's going to play.
Right,
But
so
if he does, he's going to be very limited.
So they scheme pretty well. So they seem like a team that would actually take away your number 1, and I feel like he's
But who is the number 1?
slowly become the number 1.
You think so?
Yeah. I think he's slowly become the number 1. He had a lackluster performance last week against Philly, and Philly's not even that good. He just wasn't part of the offensive game plan. They ran the ball down Philly's throat. I think that's going to be a very low-scoring affair, personally.
You do? You think so?
I think so. I think it's going to be two solid defenses and 2 like decent offenses. I mean, Dallas is obviously the better offense, but I think it's going to be a low-scoring affair. I think it's going to be a lot of ball control, playing keep away. I don't see CeeDee Lamb having a huge game.
Really? Yeah. Interesting. I hope you're 100% wrong. And for the sake of the podcast, I hope we are very wrong in that regard. Well, my wide receiver / tight end sleeper for this week is going to be, let me see who this team is playing this week. Oh, God. All right. I don't know if this is that much of a sleeper, but I'm going to say it. I don't know. You think this is... do you think that Kyle Pitts classifies as a sleeper?
He could be a sleeper. He had a bad week. He had a bad week last week. But do you think this is his coming out week? Is that why you're saying?
I think so. I do. I mean, I'm going to go Kyle Pitts. I'm going to go Kyle Pitts because the Washington football team defense has been atrocious.
Horrendous.
It's been bad. I don't know why, but it's been bad. And they are in Atlanta this weekend, and they are currently 1-point favorites against the Atlanta Falcons. The Washington football team defense has given up an average of 11 yards per pass. They've given up the fourth most receiving yards in the NFL to date. They've given up 6 touchdowns, which is good for third most, and they've given up 10 plays of 20 yards or more, and they've given up over 500 yards of yak so far.
Wow! So
Kyle Pitts, who is a wide receiver in a tight end's body, is made for yards after the catch, and for a team who has a very good number 1 corner in William Jackson, who's going to be on Calvin Ridley most of the day on Sunday. I do feel like Kyle Pitts is going to be targeted a lot. and I think
hope
he's
so.
going. I think you may even see him score his first career touchdown on Sunday.
That'd be nice. I have him.
So Kyle Pitts is my fantasy tight end sleeper this week. So we have busts: Kyla Murray, Nick Chubb, CeeDee Lamb, boo, and for sleepers we have Jimmy G, Sony Michel, and Kyle Pitts. What do you think about that, John?
Good job by you, Joe.
Not bad, right?
Yeah.
I feel like I'm good at this part. This next part I'm not so good at, but we're going to try again anyway.
Some of these lines, shit.
So John is currently sitting at 11-4, and he has God damn it, he has a 7-game lead over me. I'm 6
On
and
the season.
I'm 6-11. So, John, let's go with your 5 games first. Okay,
You're marking these down?
I'm marking them down. Remember, 1 upset special at a minimum.
All right, I'm giving you the first upset special. Upset special for the spread. Not
Yeah,
like,
we're doing spreads, right?
okay. Upset special for the thread. I'm taking Houston plus 15.5. That's a massive line.
They're playing Buffalo, correct?
Yeah, and Houston's surprised me a little bit. So I'm going to take them plus 15.5. The next game that I really like is I'm going to take Denver -1.
Ooh.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think Denver could win this game by a field goal at least. I think this is a field goal game. I am going to take, only because they haven't let me down yet, and I believe they're 3-0 against the spread. I'm taking the Raiders +3 against the Chargers.
You're taking them to win.
I think
So
the
you're
Raiders.
taking them +3. You're taking them pretty much to win.
Yeah, I'm taking them to win. I think the Raiders win this game. I got, how many is that so far, Joe?
3. 2 more I need.
2 more. Pum, pum, dun, dun, dun. You should do the music. Well, I'm taking Green Bay minus 6.5 over Pittsburgh. I think Green Bay just wipes the floor with them.
Okay.
And the last game.
Talk to me, baby.
I'm taking Miami minus 1.5. I think Miami wins this game by a field goal.
Who they played?
Indy in Miami.
Oh. You got the Colts going 0-4?
The Colts going 0-4.
Oh, my goodness. Okay.
Carson Wentz just, I don't know. I was expecting more from him, and I'm just not getting it. I liked.
So you think Jacoby Brissett and the Jacoby Brissett led Miami Dolphins beat the Colts?
I mean, they kept it close with a better Raiders team. That's my thought process there. Which, by the way, really quick, honorable mention here. Cleveland is -2 favorites in Minnesota. That's preposterous. Because Minnesota is
Preposterous, he says.
I think the Vikings, and I'm not just saying this because I'm my team. I think that they are actually a good team. Cousins is 9 touchdowns, 0 picks. He's been playing absolutely fantastic ball.
The Browns are much better than Seattle. Much.
Yeah, we're gonna have to scheme a little bit there, but yeah, those are my
right.
team. Those are my picks.
All right, cool. So
You write those down.
I did.
Make sure you get all of them.
I got them.
All right, 11-4.
All right. I am going to start first, and I'm going to take the Tennessee Titans -7 in New York against the Jets for my first game.
Okay.
What do you like about that? Do you not like that
No,
one?
I like that one. I think they could win that game by 3 touchdowns.
Okay. Then
Joe's going super safe. I could already feel it.
I need to make a comeback.
He's going so safe. He's going against every bad team.
No. Jeez Louise. That line is crazy.
The 15.5.
That's nuts.
That's insane.
I'm gonna go LA Rams -4.5 over the Cardinals.
Okay.
Oh gosh. I'm gonna double dip with you on the Green Bay
Yeah.
over Pittsburgh. And then I was gonna take the Bucks, but I'm not. I feel like New England's gonna show up Sunday night. I don't know why.
Yeah, I think the Bucks win, but it might be a little. Like,
Yeah, I think it's gonna be close. Need 2 more here. I don't trust the Saints because I don't know what they're gonna get out of them.
How tempted are you to take the plus 15.5 on Houston?
I'm not, because I feel like Houston is very similar to Jacksonville last year, where they got that 1 win like out of nowhere, and then they're gonna just be horrific the rest of the season. So I'm not buying it yet.
Davis Mills was playing ultimate keeper last
Oh,
week.
God damn it. All right, I'm going to do it. Oh, God. I'm going to... Taking the Chiefs -7 in Philadelphia.
All right, that's not bad. Philadelphia looked like shit last week.
I think it's -7.5, actually. No, it's -7 straight. Okay.
So you're thinking that they win by at least 10.
Yeah. And then my upset special. God, Jesus, take the wheel. Jacksonville +7.5 against the Bengals.
He couldn't help himself. You just can't help yourself.
I can't. John, it's got to happen sometime, right?
Jesus Christ. Your record of making picks is almost as bad as Jacksonville.
Oh, God.
You can't help you pick your team every week.
I didn't. I've only done it twice. I've only done it twice.
2 out of 3 weeks. That's pretty fucking consistent, if you ask me.
Do you think I shouldn't pick them?
I mean, whatever. It's your pick.
Listen,
I just think it's funny that you picked them.
Listen, no. Can I tell you why? Can I tell you why?
Defend yourself.
Okay.
Please.
All right. They're playing on a short week. Okay. Granted. They're in Cincinnati. Granted. Okay. Cincinnati has already ruled out Jesse Bates. They've already ruled out T. Higgins. Chidobe Awuzie is doubtful. He's probably not going to play. Zeander, whatever that guy's name is, Sia, the defensive tackle, he's also doubtful. He's probably not going to play. The Jaguars have surprisingly been very good against the run this year. Okay, I believe they're a top 10 defense against the run. All right, and I've said to you and mentioned this to you on many occasions. Every week, they have got, and honestly, John, seriously, they have gotten better every week. Granted, it's been a very slow and grueling process.
Very slow,
but they have gotten a little bit better.
Listen, I believe you. I
don't know if they're going to win. But I think they're going to finally put together 4 quarters of good football.
All right, so you take them +7.5. I mean, you're thinking that even if they lose by 3, you still.
I mean, I hope they win, but I'm thinking that's where I'm going.
All right, you're like Bill Simmons with the Celtics. Like he just can't help himself to talk about the Celtics. It could not even be a basketball pod, and he'll talk about the Celtics. You just can't help yourself but to talk about Jacksonville, at least for.
It's the only time I get to do it, John. They're not a relevant football team. Jeez.
Just bookmark. Just if you want to know Joe's picks for next week, he's taking Jacksonville with one of the picks.
No, they're playing the Titans. I'm definitely not doing that next week. They're playing Tennessee. That's going to be a bloodbath. It's going to be an absolute bloodbath. So, folks, we have completed another podcast. Please don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe, and follow us on all of our social platforms, TikTok, Twitter, Instagram,
at
Facebook.
PSP Pod on Twitter and at Perfect Spiral Pod on TikTok if you want to see Maddie's picks uploaded every Sunday morning.
There you go. Around 11 o'clock in the morning, Maddie's picks are uploaded to TikTok. Make sure you don't miss those. Make sure you're following us and rating, review, and subscribing on anywhere you get your podcast, specifically Apple, Spotify, Google, and Pandora. John,
Yo.
Any last words for the good listeners at home?
No, I think we're good. I think I abused you enough about Jacksonville.
Okay, thank you so much. For everyone listening to us, thank you so much. Good luck to you and your football fandom in week 4. I hope all of your respective teams wins, unless you are a Cincinnati Bengal fan. In that case, I hope you do not have a successful night tomorrow. So, for John McCarthy, my name is Joe Miglio. PSP.